Hello YouTubers, so this is probably looks a little different than normal. I'm trying something new with my videos, or at least my tutorials on how to do things. And so hopefully you like this. If you don't, please let me know in the comments below. And if you do, also let me know in the comments below. Basically just tell me what you think of this style. So I know you haven't seen me or heard from me in a while. However, I've been doing quite a bit of custom work in weaving. So I haven't had a lot of time to just get my camera out and get a tutorial out to you. And I wanted to make sure that the next tutorial that I did was high quality, even if it's a quickie. So I'm just gonna start. So please apologize. I'll apologize. So this swatch here is not washed or blocked, which is okay because this is what it would look like if you were doing a project. So today I got a request on how to do the scallop stitch on the border of an afghan, say, or a piece of crochet work, and how to turn the corners. So what I have here is a granny square, just a classic granny square using double crochet, using an eye hook, and approximately, it's probably between a worsted and a bulky weight yarn by, oh gosh, who is this? It's Merino Superwash by Carabella Yarns. It unfortunately doesn't say what crochet hook you use with this because this is a knitting yarn, and you know how that goes. But it says to use a size 9 needle, which translates into a size I crochet hook. So without further ado, let's get started. So first, I'm going to set this aside and show you the basic idea of what a shell stitch is. So generally, or not shell, scallop, it's the same, I think. It's alternate. So here's a row of stitches. I'm not really counting. So this is your base amount of stitches. So say this is, you have some work here going on. These are the ends of whatever your stitches are, like where the V's are. If this was, if you're looking at this kind of from the top. What a shell... Sorry, my camera ran out of memory there. So I'm back. So here's your foundation of stitches for your next set of stitches. So this is not a foundation row where you would start a scarf, say. This is just where you will start your scallop stitch. So what a scallop stitch is a group of 5 double crochets. A double crochet in graphics, I guess, if you're looking at a chart, this is a double crochet. It looks like a T with a slash through it. So this basically means that here is your stitch, and there's an extra wrapping of yarn around that stitch. So it's basically the body of a double crochet, which I'll show you later. So what you do is you take a set of 5. So let's just take this first set. You do a slip stitch into this first stitch, and then you skip a stitch, and in this middle stitch here, so let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the third stitch here, you're going to do a double crochet. So there's your first one. In that same stitch, you are going to do 4 more double crochets. So you get this lovely fan shape. Oh, and to finish this stitch, sorry, you slip stitch into this, the 5th stitch here, and then to keep going, you slip stitch into the next stitch to start your next set of shells or scallops or fans or trellises. There's a lot of different names of it. However, I learned it as the scallop stitch. So this is what we're going to be doing. And I'll go over it a few times. If you want to know how to do a double crochet stitch, that's in my very first video on YouTube. And then I have done the scallop stitch before. However, this is a much more in-depth tutorial on just the scallop stitch and how to use it. So I'm going to get my work back. I have my yarn on the floor because it just is out of the way. So I'm counting this very first stitch here as my first stitch, which I've technically already slip stitched into it to end the last row. So I'm going to count 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. So here is my middle stitch. What I'm going to do is do a double crochet into that stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into that middle stitch, and do a double crochet. So that probably looks a little funny if you've never done this before, because you do get this tiny bit of a gap at first. However, when you do the next 4, it'll fill out. So here's number 2, number 3, number 4, oops, number 5. So as you see it here, you just get this arc. You don't get that fan shape. What you need to do to finish that fan shape is to slip stitch into that 5th stitch. So that 5th stitch here. Of course I'm using a dry erase and it erases as my hand is going on it. Oh well. So to start the next scallop stitch, you slip into the next stitch. That's stitch number 1 of this coming up scallop stitch. So I've slip stitched. That's 1, 2, 3. Going to yarn over to start my double crochet. Insert my hook into that stitch and do a double crochet. So yarn over, insert hook, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. That's a quick thing about double crochet. So I'm going to do that 3 more times for this stitch. So you see I'm keep going back into that same 3rd stitch. And you do get a slight hole there, which is a design element of this stitch. So there's your 3rd stitch. You count to 4, 5, and you slip stitch into that 5th one. So that's 2 scallop stitches on this border here. So I did not mean for this to happen. However, the way that my stitches are set up, I would have another scallop here, so we can pretend it's right here. It would be right here. And you would see that the end would actually end right at the corner of my swatch. So for the purposes of this video, I want to show how to round a corner if you're doing a shell stitch around the whole border and you end up having an odd number of stitches where it puts you at the edge there. So I'm just going to slip stitch over to where we would want to begin. So here we are. I only had to do 2. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, and that just rounds the corner. In this particular swatch here, let's see if I can get it back to focus. I just did a single crochet border after I did my granny square, And in the corners, I did 5 stitches total to get a nice rounded edge. You always, if you're doing a granny square or a really open-faced work, then you're going to want to do a single crochet border before you do scallop stitch or any other decorative edging, just so you get a solid set of stitches to work into. So, to round a corner, I'm going to start this set of stitches by slip stitching into my first stitch, just like normal. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Here is my third stitch, and I'm going to begin the process. So something to remember is that 5 stitches gives us a hemicircle, so a half circle. So we're going to need to do, believe we need to do 7 to round out the corner. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as you can see, I'm going to stop here. 5 gives you a hemicircle. We're going to go 6, and then 7, and technically 7.5 would be the exact number that we need if you're thinking of an actual circle subdivided into quarters. But I think 7 will do just fine. 8 would be probably slightly too many. So here was our third stitch, 4, 5. So we're going to finish this up by slip stitching into that 5th stitch. And then why don't we do another scallop stitch just so you can see what they look like next to each other. So again, you start by going into the first stitch and slip stitching, and then do 5 double crochets into the third stitch from the hook. So 1, 2, 3. 2. I know I crochet pretty fast. However, feel free to rewind this part of the video if you really want to see me doing it slowly. Finish it off by a slip stitch into the 5th stitch from the hook. I'm going to pull my yarn up a little bit so I don't lose it. So you can see you have a nice circle here, and then your hemicircle right next to it, or half circle. I don't know why I keep saying hemicircle. You know, I might as well clear that. So that is your basic scallop stitch. You can always build on this, so use other stitches on the edge. I like to do what's called a picot edge, or a picot, if we're, you know, saying it in the French way. So the picot edge is just 3 chain stitches that kind of create a little nub, and you would just do that on each stitch of your shell stitch or your scallop stitch, which would create a really nice frilly organic edge. So this is how you do the scallop stitch. If you want to find me on Facebook, it's just facebook.com/Benjamin Krudwig. And you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/BC Krudwig. And same with Twitter. If you want to take a look at my Etsy store, which will be having a bunch of new things soon, it's etsy.com. No, that's beauty of dry erase. Etsy.com, or benjaminkrudwig.etsy.com. So if you can even read this, Wonderful. You can find me at Tumblr and on Instagram, basically most of the major social media places. So if you liked this video, do so. Like it down below. Comment, share this channel with others if you like this channel. And enjoy crocheting, you know, or any other fiber art. I will be branching into some new things, hint, hint, in the future. So keep checking my page back. You can expect more videos like this if you liked it. And I'm shaking the camera now. And if you didn't like it, then maybe hold out for a little bit longer to see if you like this style. So I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to let you crochet. And I will see you guys in the next video.